as well. But first, I wanted to give you a few minutes to tell us about your own experience over the last 12 months. And Zane, I was hoping we would start with you.
Sure, Daniel. I think the one word that I would use to describe the last 12 months is frenetic. There's just a breakneck pace. January of last year, our members were looking at a fifth consecutive year of record profits and record sales. And by March, everything was running in reverse, right? In the opposite direction. And months of commissions that were carefully curated from the vast majority of our members were lost overnight. And everyone's scrambling trying to get their people home. And so that kind of kicked off a cascade with the speed and with which everything sort of ground to a halt and moved backwards, caused us to have to really kick into high gear as quickly as possible and use a lot of the tools that we had put in place over the last 6 or 7 years. All of a sudden those tools became extremely, extremely important. The relationships that we built on Capitol Hill, the relationships that we built within the supplier community, and then obviously with our members. So it's been a frenetic 12 months. I don't know. I'm sure that Wendy would well, I don't know what she'll say. I don't want to speak for her, but it's certainly been a really challenging time, but also a time that ASTA has been able to show its value to the membership. And I think maybe some of the work that we've done has been thrust into the spotlight a little bit more than it had in maybe in previous times.
Yeah, and I do want to get into that, and I already see questions coming in the chat, and I promise we'll do our best to get to all of them as we go along today. But we do want to give Wendy the chance to tell us about what's been happening with ACTA in Canada over the last 12 months. Like Zane mentioned, I'm sure you had a similar experience, but I'm sure you've had a unique experience as well.
Sure. So I think, like Zane mentioned, that 2019 was a stellar year for travel. And so to go from having one of the best years on history to zero overnight, I would use the word chaos, crisis, catastrophic. And I will be honest, for myself, the first 6 months of COVID is a bit of a blur. It was absolutely 24/7 advocacy. Things were moving and changing every single day, whether that was repatriating travelers and advocating for that, advocating for aid. It was definitely a blur, but we were working full out. One thing that our colleagues in ASTA said, so Eben, their key government relations person, I remember him saying early that we were hoping we would do all of this work, get this aid in place and be able to sit back for a little bit, but it didn't turn out to be like that in either country, that we had to keep circling the government. That the question of aid, which was the number one priority at first, that it was a relentless effort, certainly here in Canada, and then talking to our colleagues in the States, it seemed to be the same. So definitely chaos, chaotic, and crisis is what I would say.
Yeah, and